son lost of eyesight, can't hear. Is that Mount Rainier?
Mount Rainier is this one over here.
Oh, okay.
And then that's Mount Adams. And on a very clear day between those first two wind turbines, we can see Mount Hood down in Oregon. But there's been a lot of fires here, so kind of can't.
So this one is Mount Adams?
Yeah, Mount Adams.
What's right over there? Like
those are the Goat Hills. So we have a display right there.
Oh, of the mountains? Okay.
Yeah, display it. Yep. So we'll get started. My name is Bridget. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask along the way. But we'll be stopping at Where did we build them?
No, when?
When I am going to get there. Okay?
Listen first, I see.
I know. I'll answer a lot of questions along the way. So we are Puget Sound Energy's Wild Horse Wind Farm here. We have 149 wind turbines in total, and we have maxed out on our property here. We're done building. Puget Sound Energy as a whole has 2 other locations, and their newest one, they are expanding. They are adding more wind turbines. So here we built our first phase in 2006, where we had 127 wind turbines in that first phase. There are, out of that 127, they are 1.8 megawatt generators. That's what they can produce each, and they cost $3 million each in that first phase. Yes, exactly, a lot of money. In 2009, we completed our second phase, our last phase, of 22 more wind turbines, where they are 2 megawatt generators each, and they cost $4.5 million each in that second phase. The reason why they cost more in that second phase was because we didn't buy as many in bulk, and it was a new patent released on the 2 megawatt generator, so it cost more because it was brand new. The reason why...
Things over there.
I will get there. You are a curious guy, aren't you?
Might want to ask the questions towards the end of the tour.
Yeah. The reason why I say that we have maxed out on our property here is we have 10,000 acres, and the spacing between each wind turbine needs to be at least 300 feet apart and 800 feet back from each other. So we have ours placed along the ridge lines too. So we did a 3-year study before we started construction to know where those maximum wind places were. Like I said, Puget Sound Energy has 2 other locations. One's Hopkins Ridge down in Dayton, Washington. They have 87 wind turbines out there, and they produce enough power for 40,000 homes in a year. They are done building out there. Puget Sound Energy's newest location that they just put on in 2012 is in Lower Snake River, what's down in Garfield and Columbia counties. And they have 149 wind turbines just like here, but they're 2.3 megawatt generators, so they produce enough power for 100,000 homes in a year, while we here produce enough power for 70,000 homes in a year. The Lower Snake River project, the newest one, they just completed their first out of 5 phases, where they're looking at, when they're all done, having 775 wind turbines out there. So quite a bit more power will be coming on eventually. There's talks of them starting their second phase within the next few years. So.
What was the middle? You said 40,000 homes. Where was that location? What's it called?
It's called Hopkins Ridge down in Dayton.
Okay.
So here in Kittitas County, we have 3 wind turbine farms. So ours was the first in Kittitas County, and the second that came on was in Vinergy, the company across the street on the other side of Vantage Highway. is Invenergy, and they are GE manufactured. So they were manufactured here in America. They send all their power down to California. The newest wind farm in Kittitas County is out by Thorpe, it's on the other side of Ellensburg, and they are Horizon, what is an Indian company that manufactured them, and they are a little different than our two companies where they are contracted out. It means that they only produce power when someone buys a certain amount of power. So theirs aren't always producing power like ours are. When we have at least 9 miles per hour of wind, we will be producing power. Today, we definitely don't have that.
So even so, since it's moving so slowly, it's not producing power.
No, it's just swaying in the wind. We need at least 9 miles. We'll go over to the generator and we'll get into that a lot more over there. But our wind turbines here are a Vestas company, so they were manufactured in Denmark. So the blades and the nacelle actually came from Denmark. They were shipped over across the Atlantic, through the Panama, all the way up to the port of Vancouver, where they were put on trucks and shipped up here. It took 12 countries and 4 states to build one wind turbine here in our facility.
I've seen the propellers, shipped.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm not sure I've seen the poles. So
They come in pieces.
Okay.
They come in 3 parts.
Okay.
So they're not as
Long.
long. So since we have all of ours built, Vestas has since then had a plant built here in America. So now they are producing here in America. I think it's back in Colorado or somewhere.
How was it funded?
There's a few different ways, but
How's what funded? This whole thing?
Yeah, the project.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly. There's a few different ways.
I mean, is it state or local or federal? Grants?
I think it's state and federal.
A little of both, of everything. I know Andrea, my other coworker, she's more my boss. She knows the exact details more than me. But
are you going to tell us more? I hate to ask questions. I feel like Isaac. But is that your name?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like you were saying that right now there isn't any electricity being generated, and
No.
so obviously then it can't be stored.
No.
And so what happens to the people who need the energy?
Well, Puget Sound Energy has other forms of energy. They have
so
other
you
sources.
can't just rely on wind.
No.
God.
They have transfer stations that actually open up different conveyor power
So Puget-
Different
conduits.
places.
Yeah, Puget Sound
Yeah.
Energy has coal. They have hydro. They have natural gas, and then wind. So they have different sources.
Solar is a little more expensive.
Solar is just here. It's not a big part. Our wind is about 10% of our portfolio. I want to say hydro is about 40% of our portfolio. So it all balances out.
Well, you mentioned that. What is it? In what?
Invenergy, they send it.
Invenergy, and they send it to California. So do you lose energy through
Yeah.
the?
Yeah,
wind?
definitely through the transfer all the way
Okay.
down there. From our company, it goes onto the power lines, and it gets sent to where it's needed at times. It's a whole system. What they don't tell us.
Yeah,
most
I have
of it.
No idea.
But when we go over to the generator, I will get into more of how we produce the energy and where it goes from the wind turbine onto our property. But as a whole, our company has planned to pay off all of our what it costs to build all of this after 13 years. So we are in year 7 of paying that off. So it depends on what company and how they choose to plan to pay everything off, but we've picked a 13-year payoff plan.
Why would that company not send it local rather than so far away?
It just, California is in such a high need.
Higher
Get a
bidder.
higher price for it.
Yeah.
Well, don't we even, like Wanapum Dam sends Bonneville
Yeah.
or whatever, they send their power to
Yeah,
California too.
there's a lot of what goes out of state.
A lot of contracts that are written
Mm-hmm.
for periods of time. That's assessed.
Is that right?
Yep. So it just depends. Puget Sound Energy keeps ours here in Washington. We service the Seattle area and Kittitas County. So we are proud of that. But it just depends on the company. I don't know all the details on that. At this point, we'll head down to the solar.
I do know that there are power brokers that actually sell power to the highest bidder.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
There are people sitting in computer screens just unlocking power from one direction to another, and they're controlling the power grid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I have a really kind of silly question, but why did they choose white?
It is a law. I don't know if law is the right word, but they all have to be white.
That's what I wondered, because all of them, I really did not know that this was two different.
Yeah, most people
I
don't.
assumed you were all the same.
Mm-hmm. They all look the same from the most part.
Yeah.
There's different little tweaks that are a little different. It just depends on the company, but it's a standard. They all have to be white.
So is this phase 2 then? Are those phase 2?
No, all these ones out here are phase 1.
Okay.
Phase 2 are at the very end of our
Oh,
property.
okay.
And you can't tell the difference.
Huh.
They all look the same. The generator's the only thing different on the inside.
So these are all the same size, even though those look so smaller.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just distance.
Wow.
So we'll head down to the solar now. So this here is our solar display. We actually have 2 different solar arrays here on our property. This is our smaller of the 2. There's 315 solar panels back here, and these were manufactured here in Washington by Silicon. The second solar array is up along this ridge line around the corner, and that's our larger of the 2 solar arrays. There's 2,408 solar panels up there. And those were manufactured in Tennessee by Sharp. Between the 2 solar arrays, it produces 500 kilowatts of power, and that's enough to power 100 homes in a year. Between the 2 of them, to purchase and install, it costs $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think we installed these in 2009. Yeah, it was 2009. Since then, the price for solar has dropped dramatically. Solar has become more and more popular for residential homes. So that price has dropped. Like I said, it produces enough power for 100 homes a year and costs $4 million.
So what produces all of your solar power panels?
Together.
Not just these.
No, the 2 solar arrays together.
Okay. And you were saying how many panels? Like, what's a panel?
1 square.
Really? 1 square is a panel?
Mhm.
Okay.
So between the 2 solar arrays, 100 homes in a year, $4 million. 1 wind turbine produces enough power for 460 homes in a year and costs $3 million. You can kind of see why we have more wind turbines than solar for that reason. But the reason why we do have solar here on our property is we get at least 300 days of sun a year here.
Yeah.
And it helps offset what we use here on our property. So our building here, our maintenance building down at the end of our property, and all the wind turbines still need electricity to run. So these offset what we're taking off the grid.
Nice.
So each wind turbine has giant computers on the inside, so they do need to have those running. So this offsets what we use. So that's always a great thing. My favorite fact about the solar is our solar panels do not rotate, they do not track with the sun. And that's because in 2007 we recorded 117 mile/hour winds. So we don't want the solar panels blowing away.
Whoa, seriously?
Yep.
That windy.
That windy, it was in December, it was in a winter storm. But
remember
our
that.
solar panels, our buildings, and our wind turbines are built to withstand 180 miles/hour wind.
I was just gonna ask
We
that.
hope that it will never happen up here, but we have them to withstand that.
Huh.
So the panels can't lock down for a windstorm?
No. They don't rotate, so they
Well,
are,
I mean,
yeah.
what I was getting at is you couldn't get a model that can track the sun and lock down for windstorms.
They probably could, but we get 300 days of sun a year, so it's not worth tracking it. We
Yeah.
are producing it, so. Also, the reason why we have this fence, none of us workers like it, I think it's ugly, but we have the fence because every other year we have cattle here on this pasture. And so the cattle will actually come and lay under the solar panels. About a month ago, we had a marathon up here, and I was up on the solar panels up on the ridgeline at the water station, and I came upon a herd of deer. There was like 10 of them laying underneath the solar panels. So
Wow.
that's why we have the fence. People always ask about that. People always ask about these two things too. That is a Central grad students research project. I think they were supposed to come and pick it up like a year ago. I don't know what they're researching, but it's still here. So I don't know what their research is, but we still
Researching
have
your
it.
tolerance to how long you'll let it stay there.
Yeah.
Probably. So at this point, we'll head down to the two big blue boxes.
Quick question about, so on the windstorm that you tracked of 117 or 118, are these capable of generating in that strong wind?
Wow. What is
no.
this? What is this? What is this
That
type?
was a big horsefly, it looks like.
It is so huge.
No, we
What?
It's that
And
fly
horse
that was-
flies bite.
our wind turbines will actually shut down at 56 miles.
Are you
Okay.
serious?
Why do you like
I'll
me?
get into it.
I showered today.
Oh, it's just whether or not they could generate at that high speed.
Okay.
So.
That is huge.
I'll explain when we get down
Yeah.
here to the generator. And the highest 117, that was where our recorder maxed out. It probably should go higher, but it's a recorder maxed.
Oh wow. So this is one of the windmill poles.
I think that's a propeller.
Blade.
Or a blade.
Oh, is that a blade?
That's what it's called.
Wow. This is one single windmill blade. Huge.
Over here, Carter. 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 Over here. Paige. Over here. Paige. Over by Carter. Hey, turn around. Look at me.
Okay, so this here is our generator and air-to-air cooling system. Air-to-air cooling system is just a fancy way of saying an air conditioning. Keeps our generator from overheating. Both of these components are actually in the nacelle. The nacelle is the big box on top of the tower. And the nacelle is big enough to fit a small school bus in. It's 34
Oh my
feet long,
goodness.
11 feet wide, and 13 feet high. It's huge. It weighs 75 tons with nothing in it, 105 tons with everything inside of it. So both of these are computers and our gearbox. Our gearbox, what we don't have on display because one hasn't broken down yet, and we hope it doesn't. Those are extremely expensive. The gearbox weighs 20 tons itself and takes up over half of the nacelle. It's huge. So how this works is normally when we have 9 miles per hour of wind, the blades will be rotating at a constant 16.5 rotations per minute. So it will go around 16 times in 1 minute. At 56 miles per hour, the blades will actually feather out of the wind and shut down. Anything above that 56 miles per hour of wind is too strong for the rotor over time. It will wear down and cause problems. So that's why between the 9 miles and the 56 miles is our maximum wind. That's when we're producing our energy looping. So the blades can pitch in and out of the wind to keep that constant 16.5 rotations. We need it at a constant rate. So I don't see any that are spinning, so I can't show you guys that rate, but hopefully the winds will pick up. So when the blades are rotating at that constant 16.5 rotations, it's then attached to the gearbox. And the gearbox is just like giant bicycle gears, where it's rotating at 1800 rotations per minute. That in turn rotates our generator over here. And how the generator works is we have a copper wire field that is stationary, and on the inside there's magnets that are rotating, and that creates the electrons needed. So in the generator it's producing 690 volts, and it comes over here to our transformer where it's stepped up to 34.5 kilovolts. It comes down here where there's cables that run down the whole tower into the foundation, and we have 90 miles of underground cables here on the property that go to our 2 substations. At the substations, it's then stepped up again to 230 kilovolts, and from there it's sent out onto the grid to the customers. So that's the general, what I understand of how it works. Like I always say, I have my degree in education. So when all those engineers ask me questions, that's all I know.
So where is this generator located?
It's in the nacelle, so they have...
At the top?
Yeah.
So that heavy thing is at the top?
Yep, so there's the
Word.
blades and the gearbox. The generator's more on this side. There's a little walkway, and then there's computers.
Wow.
It's huge in there, but so are these components.
I honestly thought that you guys manage the propellers, you know, the
Nope,
speed.
they...
Because some will be going and some won't. You'll have one going and another dead still. How can that be?
So on the back, you can see more on this one. There's on top of the tower, back of the nacelle, there's 2 antennae, and
Yep.
one tells wind speed and the other tells wind direction. So each tower for its location can judge the wind speed and where the wind's coming from. So as you guys can see, this row, so we follow this row right here is C2. They're all facing west right now.
Okay.
While down the hill some, on that other ridge line, all those ones, the blades are facing east. It just depends of where the wind's coming from. So they are always searching for the ample maximum amount of wind. So the nacelle can actually rotate 3 times around, do 3 360s to find that maximum wind before it has to unwind itself.
Oh wait. So they move?
They can move.
Oh, I did not know that.
So that's why they're kind of all pointing in a little different directions right now. They're searching for that wind.
So even though they weigh a lot, it's probably central balance, so it
Yeah.
doesn't take much.
Yeah.
The generator's right on top of the tower. So
The propellers will move to find the wind.
So they got a limiter on them that they can only go so fast?
that's because the cables that go down the tower, it has enough slack for it to rotate 3 times.
No, I mean the propeller. You said it can only rotate at a certain speed?
Shuts down
Constant
after 15.
16.5 rotation.
So if
No.
the wind is going 9 miles per hour
They can
or
pitch
50
in
miles per hour, it still has to just go that one speed?
Yep, they pitch it in and out of the wind to keep that constant.
And that's all done by the computer inside.
Yep.
Wow.
Nice. Nice.
So we don't do anything. It's all programmed.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
Again, it comes from a layman's viewpoint. It would seem like stronger wind, you just gear up to handle the stronger wind to keep the blades into the wind,
Yeah.
and versus going for a certain rotational speed. So it just seems it's beyond my education level, but it's different than what I thought.
Well,
Yeah, totally different than what I thought.
it's all dependent upon the generator.
Yeah, it can only
Does
handle.
the cycles change, or what would happen as it rotates faster?
Well, they try and keep it that constant because I don't think it can handle it going.
It just shuts off the propellers
Well, I know
and
that,
keeps
but
them
I'm
moving.
trying to figure out. Obviously, if it's at a certain pitch and the wind comes up through the gearbox, your RPM inside the generator is going to be faster. There's some reason they don't want that to go any faster.
Because it's going to ruin it.
No. What if it went from 1600 to 1700? That's a minimal. Something happens where it's either producing too much voltage or too much megahertz, and you're cycling. I think that would almost be it.
I think so.
It's like almost, I guess the analogy would be taking something that's made in the U.S., going overseas and plugging it in,
Right.
and it may not be the voltage. Let's say that would be corrected, but when you get to cycles,
Yeah.
that's how often it goes from positive to negative within a second. You can start anything that runs on a motor on time will really be screwed up.
Yeah.
Even motors will burn up because if they're too slow, they're not spinning fast enough, and they'll overheat. So the computer's set up to just maximize that.
Yeah. I think so. I'm agreeing with you on that.
But these things will actually turn a whole 360 degrees?
Yep.
Up to
I
three
did
things.
not know that. I'm
You
going to
can't-
stand here and watch one. Seriously. I did
You
not know
can't
that.
really
With your flashlight.
do it right now. They won't be rotating.
Yeah, I know that.
If we all blow really hard at once.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I think it's about a 10-15 minute process for it to
That's
do the rotation.
interesting. I seriously thought that you guys turned them on. Because some of them were going and some aren't. And
Well,
I
can
had
you
no
can turn them
idea.
on, can't you? Just by telling it not to pitch the blade so it won't turn.
There's a maintenance mode because there's a couple driving up the
Yeah,
way.
we can feather the blades out so they won't be on. That's when they are doing maintenance and other things.
oh,
So we'll head over to the blade. I'll explain how our blade works.
Yeah, there's really,
No wind at all.
I know, it's just
new cars have all that some of these things too. Some of the cars that they have.
So this is inside the blade. Huh?
They have a computer that when they have an acoustic wall.
Wow. Inside a blade. Inside a hollow blade.
Gets to push the pedal, and when the tooth way too long, it turns the brake on slightly.
So this is our blade here. This is actually one of the blades that would be on the tower. It's 129 feet long, 11 feet at its widest, and 1.5 at the tip. It takes 90 anchor bolts to attach it to the hub, and it weighs 7 tons itself. It's made out of carbon fiberglass and a foam composite.
so I was watching your video and it was showing how they were bringing it in.
Yep.
And so there were guys literally inside your, is it nacelle? Is that
Yep.
how you say it?
There's
And they were helping it come in, and you could see the bolts sticking out. So how do they attach? Like, do they have to weld, or what do they do then?
they line it up, and they don't weld.
Okay.
But they just tighten them. So the video shows when they're bringing the tower in, the blades not the blades, they actually screw it in.
They're threaded?
Are threaded left-hand thread rather than the normal righty-tighty.
Okay.
That's because when the vibrations tighten it
Ah.
rather than loosen it. So it's the same thing here. They just, yep.
Oh, wow.
So that's,
Wait, what are we looking at?
It moved.
it was facing this way.
You missed
It-
it. It moved.
Yeah.
It might still be moving.
Oh wait, it's moving right now.
Oh, wow, it is.
What's the lifespan of the blades?
So our whole entire
not know
wind.
That is amazing.
What is moving?
That's the box. It's moving like this. It's trying to find wind.
So the main component to upgrade was the generator.
Yeah.
So like at Bonneville, they replaced the
Found
turbines
a little bit of wind.
there to increase the capacity of
Yeah.
output. Here it's just a generator.
Yeah. So our blade here, the video kind of shows it, but our company decided to, during construction, bring each blade up one at a time and have a guy align it and attach it. In Venergy, the company across the street, they actually had the hub on the ground. Ooh, God, sorry. The hub on the ground attached to 3 blades and then brought it up as one component. Depends on the company and how they feel to build it during construction. Our blade here during it is moving.
It totally is.
During construction was actually dropped. They dropped it about a foot off the ground. So it is cracked. We weren't able to use it on the tower. So each blade, the set of 3 of them, have to be anywhere between 7 and 12 pounds of each other. It's such a small weight ratio because they don't want them wobbling up there on the tower. So this blade, to find its replacement, took quite a while to ship it all the way back from Denmark and find its replacement. So it was about $180,000 mistake dropping. Where's the crack though? Willie will actually walk down the side right now and I will point out where it's been cracked.
Did you already mention? Did you already mention how long these are?
129.
129 feet long. Wow.
So right here is where it's cracked.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't look that bad, but they can't use it.
Wow.
How did it crack?
They dropped,
They dropped it.
You
And
think
they
it's bad
only,
when
it
you
was
tell you
only
not to
just
carry the
this far
glasses
from the
too fast.
ground and they dropped it and it broke.
Wow.
I was curious, were there, because in your video it showed a guy on top of your nacelle.
Yeah, you
Were
can.
there any accidents or
Nope.
any injuries? Nobody got hurt? No one fell?
No.
Wow.
The guy who
They,
dropped yours.
They're looking for volunteers though.
No, it's okay.
I think they usually have tether cables connected to
I know,
them.
but I just was curious if there was any injuries.
I climbed May 10th. They took us up for training. There is major safety just for us
Yeah.
to climb. You know?
So you can climb the inside.
Yep, we'll go and see the ladder on the inside.
Oh, neat.
We won't climb, but
Yeah.
You don't get to climb it, but you get to see the
Is it like 290 feet up?
220 feet
Okay.
from the base to the top of the tower. When the blade's sticking straight up, it's 351 feet tall.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Wow.
taller than the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty is 305.
Wow.
So we'll walk down and you guys will be able to
Aren't you glad we went to this? Yeah. I love it. I know. I don't blame you. You should be just fine with your regular glasses. God, it's so neat. Thin blade. Really
I know
thin
there's a
blade.
country that gets credit. Wind turbines actually originated out of windmills. Well, were very big in Denmark and the Netherlands. Windmills were originally used
Sorry,
for
touching it.
pumping water into
Touching a windmill blade.
From that, I don't know how the technology has changed, but it is drastically changed. So my favorite fact about the blade is when it's at that constant 16.5 rotations, the tip of the blade is actually coming around with that force at 150 miles per hour.
Oh my
Wow.
word.
So it is, I've not seen any of them running at that speed, so, a few of them way back there, but we aren't close enough to see. But that's 150 miles coming around. So I think that's pretty cool. At this point, we'll head down to these rocks. I'll tell you a little about our environment, and then we'll head down to the wind turbine.
Will we go inside?
Yeah, we're gonna go inside. Do you have any questions?
Oh, there you go.
Can it touch you?
No, we're not gonna touch it.
Like when it's standing.
No, it's still a good 100+ feet away from the ground. So we're good.
Are there any bird fatalities with the blades?
Yeah, I'll get to that down here. With
Oh,
our
wow.
environment. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, but
Yeah.
yeah. If airplanes can have that
fatalities?
problem, I'm sure wind turbines can.
What about
Yeah.
bug fatalities?
Bug fatalities? I bet there's lots of those.
They got windshield cleaner on the blades. I'm just picking it up.
So this here is one of the 3 locations in Washington State where you can find hedgehog cactuses. So there's a small cluster right here and a few more scattered throughout here. They bloom this beautiful pink in May. It's like a 1-week bloom process where I came up here one day for work. I didn't have my camera. I didn't work the next day, and then I came up the following day with my camera and they were gone. So they're that fast, but they are very beautiful.
So where's one?
There's a giant cluster right straight ahead.
Oh, you mean those little poof balls?
Yep, that's some of the hedgehog cactus.
Yeah, these things
cute.
like. That's weird.
Sorry.
Things turn into cute.
Into the beautiful pink, yes. So during prior to construction, we did a 3-year study of the land to know where the hedgehog cactus were. So we actually relocated them into safer places so they wouldn't be in the place where the roads or the towers would be. We also, on our land, we have 10,000 acres, 7,000 of it Puget Sound Energy owns, and the other 3,000 of it we lease from Department of Natural Resources and Fish and Wildlife. Because of that, we are very conscious of the animals we have up here. So we have a herd of elk, deer, coyote, fox. We've had a sighting of a bear a few years ago. We have snakes, we have lizards, we have birds. No snakes, we're okay, I don't hear any.
I heard one over there.
That's the
Locust.
crickets.
Or grasshopper.
But like you asked about the birds, each wind turbine kills about 2.4 birds per year. When you put that in comparison, our lovely windows on our building kill between 10 and 12 birds per year. That number we are trying to drop. We have little window decals that give out a purple UV ray so they can see the windows better. Also, my favorite fact is if you put that in comparison to house cats kill anywhere between 1 and 3 billion birds per year. So wind turbines are a very small percentage of what affect birds.
So you're saying we need those decals on every cat?
Yes.
And no fish were harmed
No
with these
fish were
windmills.
harmed with our wind turbines.
Yes.
So, people think that they do really affect. That was because about 30 years ago, probably even more now, was the wind turbines down in California. Those were a lot different from the wind turbines we have out here. They were clustered together. They weren't at a constant rate, so a herd of birds would come right through and be killed. So we have lots of space between them. They're at a slower rate, and they're a lot bigger, so the birds are able to see them. So that's why the number has dropped drastically since then. At this point, I want to make sure that everyone has their hard hat on tight, give it another crank or two. Safety glasses are on. And does anyone have a pacemaker? Nope? Okay.
No, but I'm willing to learn.
We're okay then. So we'll head down to the wind turbine.
Nice.
The birds, we have in the environment also moving around these wind turbines. Even when our birds
on the road, or if it hits their window, or whatever.
It goes into that number in the app.
I think it's absolutely amazing that we can get, you know.
That crane in there, the crane actually came up here on 40 different trucks. They used another crane to build it here on site.
Oh, I know, but how do they get the crane to?
It has like tractor, it moves. So they have access roads where the tractor can go down.
That is just crazy.
We're gonna go down to this one right ahead of us.
What number is this one?
C2.
C2?
C2.
See,
So the big trencher that built all the trenches, I've actually heard they were trenching all day and they were replacing the blades all night.
Oh wow,
So
this is
it's
so
hard
hard
rock.
and rock.
Yeah.
Yes.
I go by Brittany.
Are these huge?
Staff.
Are these networked to talk to each other so that two sides, if there's three in a row, the two outside ones will tell the one in the middle of the optimal win? Or?
No. I think a lot of times it's going and this one's not. So it just depends on where the two comes from. Their own individual settings.
Suppose that makes it easier for construction, just kind of put it down like that.
Yeah, if something happens to be no, they were. No, that one's already rotated.
Okay, okay. So they weren't built to face a certain direction.
Nope.
Grandma, that is really big.
We're good now. You guys can keep walking.
Mhm.
Isaac, leave it there, please.
So we have quite a few of them still here.
Nice big grasshopper. I used to have a cat that used to eat those. He couldn't catch them. I had to catch them for him. Hey, Sherry.
I know, I can hear you.
Hey, Sherry. When we get done here, I should have you stand right there just so I can give it some scale.
I can't have you go over there.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, we have to
okay.
stay through this
Okay. All right.
Isaac, get back here with me, please. Thanks, bud. Isaac, you and I are going together.
Well, it's pretty tall.
It is.
Could you walk over there?
No,
Oh, okay.
they really don't like us anywhere near.
Okay. I mean, just right where the rocks, those big rocks are. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on in, just watch out for a step in here. It's kind of loud. This is actually quiet. Really? Yep, this is quiet.
Oh, I think it's rotating. I think I see the. No, that can't be rotating.
You would hear it.
Okay.
Whoa. Come on in, we can put more of you back there. We got plenty of room for everyone.
I was just gonna say, is that elevator?
No, that's the place where one would be.
Oh, but they don't.
If you ever had a conference, I know we used to do the 60s.
All the way out there.
I think I've gotten, I think 25 kids in here for a school group, 22 adults, but we were all. So this is the inside of our tower. It is about 13 feet wide here and about 7 feet wide at the top of the tower where it meets the south. Below us is the foundation. There are 120 anchor bolts that go 30 feet into the ground. How many? 120 that go 30 feet into the ground. They are in 260 cubic yards of 260 cubic yards of concrete. That's about 16 truckloads of concrete that we actually produce here on site. We had our own rock quarry because shipping in 16 truckloads per turbine is quite a bit. So our tower here is made out of steel, and our ladder is actually attached by giant magnets. That's why I asked if anyone had a pacemaker.
Oh, wow.
Magnets?
Yeah,
That's a
wow.
magnet.
to attach it to magnets rather than drilling into the tower, because the top of the tower on a really good windy day can sway. It can sway, I think, up to 6 feet in one direction.
Oh, my word.
So that's why they don't want to be drilling into the tower, creating that structural damage over time. So our tower goes full 220 feet. I had to climb 20 feet without it. Oh man, you can tell the difference just climbing by yourself. So that's how this works. Our maintenance guys will actually climb this tower twice a year. So they are climbing 5 days a week, visiting the towers. So they are always climbing.
How many steps are there?
220.
How many maintenance people do you have for?
We have 22 technicians here on our side, so we have 11 crews that are at a different tower each
Are they
day.
24 hours a day?
No, there's always someone on call, but they only work the work days. So there's 11 crews. They always climb in pairs of 2. How they get their tools up there is on the back end of the nacelle. There's actually flaps that will open up, and each nacelle has its own crane on the inside. So they lower a cable down and will pick up their toolbox.
Oh, interesting.
That way, that's the sound of the tower rotating. So.
Cool.
On the outside or the inside?
The whole tower, or the
No, I
whole,
mean they pick up their tools.
on the outside.
One house.
That's what we saw.
That's what we saw. That we thought it was a guy being hoisted up.
Oh,
Wait, where did you see that?
Driving in.
Driving?
We saw
There was a
something
hole.
going up the side of the tower.
Yep.
It must have been a toolbox full of.
Cool.
It's really cool to see. That crane can take up to, I think, 1,200 pounds. So where you guys are at is the location of where an elevator would be. We have 32 elevators here on the property. The reason why we don't have more elevators is because A, they're expensive, and B, they're slow. The average time climbing, I've heard, without the climb assist, is between 6 and 10 minutes. The whole way up. With the climb assist, the fastest I've heard was like 3 minutes. Elevator, on the other hand, takes about 15 to 20 minutes to ride all the way up, and then you have to get out of it and climb another 20 feet on the ladder by yourself. So the maintenance guys just climb. It's easier. It's a good workout.
How many of them actually have elevators?
32.
So they actually use the climb assist to help them climb up the ladder faster. I think that's what I missed when I was changing batteries.
Yep. So our big Vestas computer over here, that is connected to the computers that's up in the south. So this is telling us we can see how much power is being produced in kilowatts. So we're actually using solar power right now. We're taking away from the grid. So that's when the solar comes in handy. We have the RPM, so how many rotations per minute the generator and the gearbox are rotating at. Or, no, excuse me, the generator and the blades are rotating at. The wind speed and meters, so right now we're getting only about 5 miles per hour of wind, so not enough. And then the pitch of the blades, so what angle you're at. I'm getting there. Exactly what every little boy wants to hit. It looks like the do not press for buttons. Exactly. So we have the little red button up on the screen. That's our pause button. Anytime the maintenance guys are climbing, they hit that. It turns the generator off, or the gearbox off, the generator, and the computers stay on. There pitches the blades out of the wind and they're able to work up there safely. The big red button, what every boy wants to hit, is our emergency stop button. They have that located here, along the climb, and actually in 2 places in the south. That's if something were to happen, if the generator doesn't turn off, the gearbox doesn't turn off after hitting the pause button, they can shut that down. I haven't heard of it having to be hit unless it was for doing routine checkups to make sure it's going to work. The only other time I've heard it was a hit was when one of my coworkers was climbing, she actually stepped on it. But it was already paused, it was already, so it wasn't that big a deal. Yes.
Where is how they controlling how fast the wind should go?
Everything up there. It's all up there.
Good question.
He is a good question, guy. So that's our big emergency button. As I always say, every 5th grade boy that I bring in here on a school group wants to hit it. But don't. It's our do not hit button in case of emergencies. My last fact before we are done with our tour is our tower here is named Whitebird. 10 of the towers here on the property are actually named. But next Wednesday is our last day. We're giving away a chance.
What they call this one?
A chance to name one of the towers. So up by our front desk, you can fill out one of the pamphlets and be entered into win the chance to name one of these. There's only 10 of them, as I said, but they were all won during an auction. So people had to pay to name them. You guys can enter in for free
To name one.
name one of them. So other ones are named like Serendipity, one's named after a company, one's named after a guy. I've heard a lot of different names. One wants to name it Wally, other names like Alien Tree. It just depends what you want to name it. So.
Just call it Wendy with an E.
Yep.
Pretty much lightning beacons.
Lightning.
Yeah.
Each blade has a lightning rod, so they're grounded. So it doesn't affect the towers or any of the machines or anything.
But do they get struck a lot?
Yeah. A few weeks ago we had that huge storm that came through.
Yeah.
15 of them were actually struck.
15.
They weren't supposed to shut down, but some part shut down.
Yeah.
So that wasn't supposed to happen. them. So we have to go through and do maintenance on all of them.
Is this where the power is coming from? Coming
Exactly.
to? Yeah, that big black cable.
I don't know. What's below down there? That's just a basement. Each one of them has 10 feet below this platform.
I can see some of the big screws down here.
Exactly.
You ready to head out,
Yeah,
Isaac?
there's no out.
Isaac,
Lift you up.
keep that out of your mouth. Remember what I said?
Okay, that's our tour. If you guys have questions, let me know.
Isaac, that's back in your mouth. Where, bud?
You guys are more than welcome to head back up. Stay on the trail that we came down on, and keep your helmets on and safety glasses on until the cone's up there. Stick it off.
That's the end of the tour. One last look at this windmill before we go back inside. I mean, this is about as close as you're going to get to a windmill that you're allowed to get. That's supposed to be about the size of a bus up there. Small bus. Wow. Here's some more of those beautiful windmills. Whole area of them.
Real interesting. They were on the point of the island.
Just for us to give tours as a liability.
Oh yeah. This is must be the main power cable that they use to from the wind. Go ahead, lift it up. Is it pretty heavy?
Sort of heavy.
Yeah. And then this must be probably the bolts that they use to keep the wind turbines onto the Sherry onto the windmill.
It's cracked.
Oh, well, this must be another cable. No, hold on. And look inside there. See how that cable inside there? All the whoa, too close, right there. Okay. Another thick conduit cable. Look at all the, it must be galvanized or something like that, or some kind of a rebar in there. Ew, I got a freaking bug on me. Ew. Another bolt. God, this kind of hardware they use, it's so huge. This must be the heaviest one. Oh, she doesn't want to pick up anymore.
It's boring.
Put your hand next to it then. There. Okay. Good enough. And then this must be Dexter and their jumpsuit that they wear to climb up the windmill. You know, he's got some kind of harness. The other kind of harness in the back. Okay, I'm going to not go too fast, but not go too slow. So you can pause this when you're in the middle of reading this stuff. So you should have paused that by now. You can pause that and read that stuff. Here's a model of a crane they probably use to hoist up the windmill.
Can I see this up here?
Excuse me.
No, but let's go look at t-shirts, okay? Wanna come look at it? See this?
Only clues pointing to glaciers. When a glacier comes from a canyon, it cuts through lots of little valleys on either side, leaving them hanging far above the main valley floor. There are some classic glacial-like features on the ridge, on the horizon. There are hanging valleys where the cliff cuts a depression. In glaciation, the glacier enters a valley and enlarges it, and it cuts off the tributaries, leaving them hanging. So it was natural to have as the hypothesis that glaciation may be the origin of some of these large features in the Channel Scabland. Yet again, it looked as if the culprit had been found. Surely glaciers, working over thousands of years, must have created this strange landscape. But there was a problem. The ice sheets that flowed down from Canada during the last ice age never reached the Scablands.
That's where the windmills are.
So the two main theories to explain the gradual formation of this landscape just didn't work. River erosion could not explain giant potholes, and ice was too remote from the Scablands to create these hanging valleys. Geologists, it seemed, were back where they had started. Each time they attempted to explain the riddle of this tantalizing landscape, they failed. There was, however, one last theory that claimed to offer an answer. Unfortunately, it struck those who first heard it as completely outrageous. During the 1920s, a geologist named J. Harlan Bretz outlined a theory of what he thought had really happened to the Scablands. But Bretz's theory defied all scientific convention. He claimed the Scablands are not the result of a slow geological evolution, but of an enormous catastrophe that happened almost overnight. Eventually, one feature clinches his argument, although it would take him decades to recognize it. From ground level, these shapes don't make much sense. Bretz must have walked under thousands of us. They're so big. Maybe they were just he didn't guess what they were. Bretz could not see aerial photographs of these hills for many years. But we can see from the air how these shapes begin to look like ripples. A giant version of the ripples left behind on the beach by the sea. Even without this keen observation, the years Brett spent patiently examining rocks and other features of the Scablands convinced him only a vast volume of water could account for all the evidence. In his mind, the entire landscape, which had once been a flat plateau, was created in a single giant flood. But as Brett's well knew, his geological colleagues, understanding that the Earth was billions of years old, firmly believed that landscapes such as the Scablands must have gradually formed. self-respecting geologist, this sounded too much like a biblical flood. They dismissed Brett's out of hand. This did not happen overnight, but over many thousands of years. To suggest otherwise is ludicrous. The implication was very clearly that Bretz was committing a kind of heresy and that he should listen to these elder statesmen of the science and rethink his hypothesis. Even if you were convinced by his unbelievable idea, Brett still had a problem. Where did the money come from? And Brett's can't tell him where it came from. It's one of the big problems with the whole idea. To convince his colleagues, Brett needed a source. How could so much water, traveling at ferocious speeds, suddenly appear out of thin air? No one among the top geologists gathered that day could imagine a source for this heretical flood. Well, almost no one. Sitting in the audience is J.T. Pardee. Pardee supposedly leans over to a colleague and says, I know where Brett's water came from. That's this formation. But it would be more than a decade before Pardee revealed his secret. During that time, Brett's remained firmly in the geological wilderness. But Brett's would not give up, and his theory would eventually return again to take the world of geology by storm. This is Missoula, Montana. It lies 250 miles east of the Scablands.
Here's a model of the whole plant, and that was Sherry's hand, which obviously wanted to be in the way. The model of their whole windmill farm. This must be where we're at. Right up here. Right there. That's where we came from and drove all the way up this road, 3 miles long, to get up to the Renewable Energy Center. Go around to the other side to see if there's some kind of... Oh. How much energy is being harnessed at Wild Horse Solar Facility right now?